My name is Alex. I did my report here on Marco Pierre White, Devil in the Kitchen. So, what he's most famous for is being the youngest chef in history to earn three Michelin stars, and also the only one to give them away. I thought he was really interesting simply because, at such a young age, he did manage to achieve such success. And then at the same time, he, for one reason or another, he decided, give it all back. And that compared to all the other chefs, in the industry, no one would be willing to do that. And no one has been able to obtain what he's been able to ever since. So I believe he first kind of got his culinary influences from his dad. His dad worked in a hotel as a cook, and then even though they grew up very poor, he would always, make good food for his kids and things like that. And Marco also came up in a very poor family. So his mother died when he was very young. He had several brothers. One of them actually had to go live with his uncle and aunt, and they adopted them as their child because Marco's dad wasn't able to fend for all of them. And that's just one of the kind of things that he had to experience back then, and that was just common for the times. One of the things that made him different when he was younger, he was very. I mean, obviously, he was very, very passionate about what he wanted to do. He was very bold. He didn't really give a crap about what other people had to say about him. He at a very young age he learned that he had to absorb as much as he could from the people around him and the things that he was exposed to. So I mean, when he was young, he left home without really saying anything, and then he just went to from kitchen to kitchen, the best kitchens that he knew of or heard of, and then just asked for jobs, at their doorstep, working whatever thing he could, and then moving his way up. And then this eventually brought him to Michelin star restaurants, where he learned about refining food, making it lighter, making it more flavorful. So learning all the techniques necessary to really get the best out of all the ingredients that he could. And then I believe that one of the things that made him successful, not only his drive, but his it was also like the people he met along the way. I believe one of his business partners towards the end of his career or middle to end of his career was Michael Caine, and then like the actor, and then they ended up having a falling out. But I mean, during the time that they were working together, they had opened a another Michelin star restaurant, which was on a much larger scale than the restaurant that Marco originally made his 3 stars at. And for the 3 stars that he had made his restaurant at, it was actually at a hotel. He was able to use as many resources as he needed. He was able to get the best ingredients. He was able to work with the best staff, and I think also part of what made him successful is how he chose his staff, how he maintained his staff. Because I mean, even though he mentioned a lot of times where it's more like a lot of other kitchens where the staff, they mess around, they joke around, things like that, get into trouble all the time. There was definitely a lot more unity with the way that his staff worked. He always talked about how he was the only one talking in the kitchen, and the only thing that other people would be allowed to say is "yes, chef," essentially. And that does sign usually that that a kitchen works very well when everything's quiet. Everyone knows what they need to do. If anything comes up, then they talk about it. They don't talk about how their day is and things like that. And I believe that Marco Pierre is a really good influence for people who want to get into the hospitality career. He's also a very good warning for people who want to get into the hospitality career. He was incredibly dedicated to his work, to the point where he would regularly have to go to the hospital because he was overworking himself. and because he if he wasn't working, then he really didn't know what to do with himself. So it kind of lets you know that that's the type of person that you need to be in order to be successful, at least in the culinary industry, and also to get some attention in the limelight. And he was known as one of the first celebrity chefs out there. And then he also taught like Gordon Ramsay. He taught Mario Batali. So his influence has spread into other chefs and things like that. And as far as what he did in this book that I can apply to my own life, it really gives me an idea of how much you have to put into the hospitality industry to get as much as he did out of it. And realistically, I probably wouldn't want to go that far to achieve the success that he has. And that's not the worst thing in the world, but part of the things that really made me admire him, and through reading this book, is just the level of dedication that he has to his restaurant, his staff, and his craft. It's something that you generally do not see with people in my generation. Most people are looking to try all these different things. This year I want to do this year I want to do that. But it's just one of those things that the more that you stick to one thing, the better you get at it. And yeah, it's just very different from my current generation's mindset. I believe that this is definitely important to remember, and I also think that more than that, it also depends on who you work with. So, especially if I'm a manager, I get to choose the people that I work with. I get to choose the people that work with each other, and I think that making sure that I have a good environment, good people that I'm working with, is key to success, especially when I work with a group of people. And I feel that reading this book has made me a little bit better of a manager, just because I can take some of his experiences and apply it to the way that I would like to manage later on. Yeah, and that's it.